This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
The Olololo Pride is feasting on a buffalo here in the Masai Mara with Halftail, the Kichwa male. This is Safari Live.
This is so exciting. We've managed to find the Sausage Tree Pride.
Look at this last dash.
This is amazing. Look at that incredible strength.
20 seconds.
Here come the cheetah. Unbelievable stuff. I'm just keeping my head on a swivel. You never know what's going to happen next in these situations.
Standing by.
Can you believe this?
Three, two, one. Live.
Good evening, South Africa, and we are very privileged to have you on board our safari vehicles tonight for another episode of Safari Live on SABC. Now, my name is Lauren, and on camera this evening I do have Seb. You were just looking at a pride of lions, and that is the Styx Pride, a very unusual, unique pride of lions that I'm going to tell you all about. But before we do that, tonight we are coming to you live from two very different locations. Here in South Africa, the western fringes of the Kruger National Park, and in the Masai Mara up in Kenya. Now, of course, these lions here are probably, maybe they haven't been seen by you before because they are slightly unusual, because they haven't been around. They are the Styx Pride, and you can ask us anything you wish to know about them because we are live and we are interactive. So use that hashtag #SafariLive to send in all your comments and questions, and we of course will do our very best to answer them. So lots has happened here in South Africa and in Kenya. So let's go and take a look at exactly what happened last week.
Last week on Safari Live, Steve unravelled the history of the Nkuhuma Pride and their strange acceptance of the Mangeni males. Trishala introduced us to the names of the newest Djuma clan members. Lauren's perseverance paid off. The old Duke Tingana chose to spend his evening with her. Elephants showed their immense disdain for wild dogs, especially when competing for precious water. Meanwhile, in the Mara, we looked forward to the commencement of nature's greatest spectacle, the Great Migration, and their perilous fording of the Mara River. This is Safari Live.
And there is never a dull day out here in the bushveld. So much happens on a daily basis. And of course, what has happened this week that surprised all of us is the arrival of this pride. I've already mentioned their name, but it is the Styx Pride. They have not been seen around here for many, many years. Djuma, where we are right now, used to be their territory, but of course they did leave it, and another pride of lions called the Nkuhumas came in. So it is a big surprise for all of us to see them again. So of course we're going to stay with them as long as we can while they groom one another, but for now we're going to send you guys across to Jamie with a spotted cat.
What a spectacular evening this promises to be. Scorpius has wrapped his tail around the night sky, and under the watchful eyes of the stars, Hosanna has kept us incredibly busy this evening. A very good evening to you all. My name is Jamie, and behind the camera is Craig, who spent his afternoon being whacked in the face by branches as we've attempted to stay with the Prince of Djuma himself, the little chief Hosanna. We all, of course, celebrated his return a couple of weeks ago, and he has more than proved that he is coming into his own. For those of you that have never met Hosanna before, he is now just over 3 years and 4 months old, and we've watched him grow up from a very tiny cub at 6 weeks old, right up until the point that he is at now. Oh, how lovely. We have a 9-year-old viewer whose name is Scarlett, and Scarlett wants to know if this is live right now. Scarlett, it is definitely live. What you're seeing is happening right here in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. And Scarlett, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to one of the most special leopards I have ever met in my entire life. And at the moment, Hassan is taking it easy. He seemed to have timed this perfectly, because up until about 5 minutes ago, he had not stopped and we were desperately driving in the dark. But I think what he's doing is hunting, looking to see whether or not there's anything living in these tunnels below him. Hunting for all of the animals out here is different depending upon the circumstances. And for the African wild dog, it is an exciting adventure.
Good morning and welcome to Chitwa Chitwa in the Sabi Sands in the Greater Kruger National Park. My name is Steve, joined by Sebastian on camera, and hello to a family of wild dogs. I've counted 10 of them. So I don't know who they are. The Investex, perhaps. I'm just always so excited to see dogs, and some beautiful scenes over the dam here as these dogs... Ooh, hello. This could be very interesting, everybody. There's a baby waterbuck here that has decided with its mum to step out. This could go either way, everybody. This could go either way. And if these dogs decide to go for it... There we go. They've got a very beautiful trot, and the mum and the baby are staying very, very close to each other. And, well, it seems as if they might be showing some interest in it. They aren't showing enormous amount. They didn't run off and go tearing after it. The waterbuck is staying very close to mum. So let's go back over to the action. It'll be very interesting. There's a pack of 10, and 10 wild dogs are a formidable force.
Got high action going on here. That is Fang of the Kichwa Coalition right next to the vehicle now. And he's just had a huge fight. Sorry, that was Snip. That's Halftail. He's just had a huge fight with Fang there. They're growling at each other. Fang came walking in from the side. Obviously hadn't eaten enough. And I think one of these females also is in estrus. Both of them were smelling her rear end. This is what lions do. They give the impression of a cohesive unit of loving cats. But when it comes to food, they are viciously aggressive with each other. And they've been feeding on this carcass now for at least 36 to 48 hours. And still they're fighting over it. Now, Halftail, so named because he has the pom-pom on his tail missing, has walked off behind us with the female who I think is in estrus. That was fantastic to see. And he came right past, not 3 inches from the edge of the vehicle. Shannon, you're wondering how bad it smells. The carcass itself doesn't smell too bad, but what I am sitting next to is the stomach contents. And what they did, obviously, once they'd killed the buffalo, was they disemboweled it and left the sort of contents of the rumen just over there. And I don't know if you've ever smelt the contents of a rumen, Shannon, but it's not something that helps you keep your lunch in its place. It's making me feel quite nauseous, but that's all right. I'll get through it. Fascinating stuff going on here. Now, as I said, I think one of these lionesses is in estrus. This is the Olololo Pride, as I've said. There are 4 adult females, 4 sub-adult females in theory, and 9 sub-adult males. And they, of course, are looked after by these 2 Kichwa males, Fang and Halftail. So what I think we're probably going to do is just have a look behind us and see if we don't get some mating action. That's quite possible. So don't go anywhere. We're going to do a little turnaround and see if we can see the others. Right, hello everybody on the interweb. I don't know where those other two have gone. Let's just have a quick look-see behind us. I think it's just the male and the female here left at the carcass. I don't want to frighten them. They could be right behind us. Jondre, you can't see them there, can you? There they go. They're wandering off into a rather difficult area. There's another female here. And the rain is coming down, so we'll probably just go back to where we were. There, they went off down there. Yeah. Yeah, they've gone to sleep in some very thick, long grass. I'm going to go back to the carcass now. Lioness there lying in the mud. I think we'll go back to Fang, who seems to be slightly angry this evening. Try not to drive into a puddle or a hole. Jondre, you're right there. Forward. Phew. Okay, everybody. I think this is the best position to be in, given the circumstances, rain and darkness. Right, I'm going to shut up now. We've got 30 seconds to live. Not that we aren't live, of course. Welcome back live, everybody. We're still sitting here in the Masai Mara of Kenya with Fang of the Kichwatembo lions and two lionesses, or that's actually a young male just behind there, and a lioness of the Olololo Pride. Beautiful stuff. We had some real excitement here. They were having a bit of a fight. Lions can be a little bit, well, boring from time to time, but when the weather's cool and there's food to fight over, then they're the most tremendously exciting animals you can possibly find. Let's go back and have a look and see if the young male's courageous enough to come up and have a bit of a bite to eat. Can you see him behind there? If you just zoom out a little bit, Jondre, there you can see his eyes shining in the background. Lovely question out of Durban there. I think it was from Shem, was it? I'm not sure if I've got the name correct, about whether or not we're afraid to be this close to them. Yes, you know, sometimes we are. And especially when animals get angry and they start fighting with each other. Oh, Hussein. Thank you, Hussein, for your question. You're just 10 years old. It's lovely to have you on board the world's biggest safari. We do get afraid if they start fighting and we're so close, because you never know if perhaps they might displace their aggression. So they might decide that you've done something to make them angry, and then they might have a go at you. It's very, very unlikely, though. They don't see the vehicle as something that's filled with food. They just see it as a kind of part of their lives that is neither a threat nor something to eat. And so that's why they were able to walk so very close to us, and we weren't too afraid about it. Now, we have just heard that the wildebeest and the zebra of the Great Migration herds are starting to cross into the Masai Mara, and I hope over the next 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks, we're going to be able to show those to you. Last year, Taylor spent a lot of time on the banks of the Mara River unpacking the phenomenal crossings of all the animals during the migration on the Mara River.
We've been waiting on the banks of the Mara River, hoping that the heat of the day will drive the zebras to come down and drink, and it looks like they're slowly moving in. Now there's some young zebra there too, which will be inexperienced. There's a second crocodile moving in now too. There's some more zebra moving in. They're gonna have to be quick. Has that crocodile moved too fast? I think it has. You can see them there, both just right at the edge of the water. Now, even though those zebra have seen them, that doesn't mean that the others that are still up on the banks know that they're down there. They might have to wait for another group of zebra to come on through. This is incredible. My heart is racing. I can't imagine what those zebras must be feeling.
On the banks and beneath the surface of the Mara River, there lurks a reptile that many consider disreputable. For nature's favourite villain, pickings have been slim for the last 9 months. But the wait is over. The migration has arrived. These perfect monsters slink beneath the muddy surface as the herds approach, inextricably drawn to greener pastures on the other side. The buffet table is laid, and the wait is over. The world's most powerful jaws snap on wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle. Africa's biggest crocodiles will feast like this for weeks. Until the next herd is drawn to the water's edge, these villains of the Mara will bask contentedly.
I don't know about you, but you couldn't pay me enough to get into that water. As I said, the herds are on the border, basically, between Tanzania and Kenya, on the Masai Mara Serengeti border, and they're kind of coming over into Kenya and then going back to the Serengeti, which is what they do, and hopefully in the next few weeks, we're probably a little bit early, they'll come up and we'll be able to get in amongst those massive herds of animals, because it really is the most breathtaking natural spectacle to see that amount of canoeing life. It's just spectacular. For the moment, however, the Olololo Pride are not eating wildebeest or zebra. They are supping on buffalo. A very good meal for a pride of this size. We don't know where the rest of the pride is. We don't know where those other 9 young males are. And so hopefully we'll get a look at 1 or 2 of them as this evening progresses. Let's go back across to South Africa now, some 2,500 kilometers away, where Jamie is sitting with the little chief.
There's no doubt in my mind that Hosana would absolutely revel in the opportunities provided by the migration in the Masai Mara. Unfortunately for him, he was born in exactly the wrong place, so that's not something that he'll ever get to experience. But he's proved time and again that he is a consummate little or not so little survivor. Just a quick recap on Hosana's story. He lost his mother far too young. He was only around about 14 months old. His litter mate, a little female, didn't survive, but Hosana beat the odds, and he did manage to survive and now reach the age of, well, beyond independence, and almost now to the point where he has to think about establishing a territory of his own. For now, though, he's been capitalizing on the inattentions of his father, or at least the leopard that thinks it's his father, Tingana, the Duke of Djuma, and he's been settled into the territory that he was born into. Now, at the moment, he is still resting his head on his paws and waiting to see whether or not an aardvark or a warthog comes out of these burrows. Now, Hosana is still curled up here, and since I've mentioned that he is a consummate little survivor, let's have a look at the ways in which Hosana has grown.
At the beginning of the year, Hosana was in a difficult stage of male mammal development. Physically, he'd moved on from gangly teenager to handsome, stocky young adult. His character, however, remained clownish in his cub-like search for entertainment. Bite-sized goslings and their parents were hardly a serious meal. At the other end of the scale was his deluded perception of invincibility. a trait he shared with adolescent men. It was time for the little chief to learn his limits. Hosana's hunting efforts were clearly often successful. His plump belly was evidence of that. Even if he still enjoyed the carefree games of youth. But the unfamiliar hormones of adulthood had begun to flow. They were changing his behavior. He began to spray bushes and scrape where he'd urinated, quite possibly without any intent to stake a territory. Tingana did not react to his son's adult behavior. If, however, it becomes deliberately territorial and is accompanied by sawing, the big old duke will not be nearly so tolerant.
Now, just 2 days ago, Hosana proved exactly how much he's grown and learned. And just by the way, you may notice that your screens look a little bit odd. That's because we are using our FLIR thermal camera, which actually proved invaluable this evening as I was trying to follow him through very dense vegetation. If we hadn't had the FLIR that picks up on his body heat, I don't think we would have managed to stay with him at all. But as I said, he has well and truly proved himself. 2 days ago, I watched him shoot out of the grass and tackle a fully grown hyena that had arrived looking very pleased with herself, pretty if you're interested, carrying a very large piece of meat. And he shot out and he actually tackled her, grabbed it from her and dashed up a tree. And all of that transpired in probably less than a minute, which just goes to show how quickly things can change out here. 1 minute a leopard is sleeping, the next it's up and about, and that's why you shouldn't go anywhere as we take a very brief break. We'll see you soon. Yeah, you can go ahead, Charles. Sorry, everybody. Charles very kindly been sitting in absolute darkness. No, you can carry on. We're in ad break. Yeah, he's been sitting in absolute darkness with the leopard. That was fun. Attempting to get through this. We have moved all the way from Buffelshoek to Mvubu. Okay, Charles, we're going to come out of ad break. Sorry. Thanks so much. Sorry. Thank you. Welcome back live to your safari here in South Africa, where our leopard has proved that any cat can make any sleeping position as comfortable as anything, or at least look as comfortable as possible. Hosana stretched out, flopped over, and at this point, I think fast asleep. I was going to tell you that he was hunting, but I think that you can quite clearly see that if he was hunting, he's now decided that snoozing would be far preferable. And that is exactly what he's doing. His breathing has slowed down. He has settled in for the long haul. Now, this is very, very typical leopard hunting behavior. They often spend time around these burrows and sometimes even spend the entire night sitting at the entrances, waiting for an aardvark or an unsuspecting warthog. Now, while we look at Hosana, we've been talking about his coming of age. Chantal wants to know at what age leopards develop a dewlap. Hosana now at 3, or just under 3.5, has started to get his dewlap, but it's only when he's around about 5 to 7 years old that dewlap will develop properly. Those of you who don't know what a dewlap is, it's a fatty flap of skin that hangs beneath a leopard's chin and makes them look very intimidating, but also potentially serves a purpose when they're fighting to protect. Oh, he's heard something. He's up. He's listening now intently. There's definitely something in these tunnels. He really wants. He is so hungry at the moment. What was I saying? Oh, yes, the dewlap. Fatty flap of skin. Helps to protect them when they fight. And that is what he still needs to grow into. Now, it's very unusual at this time of evening to see Hosana away from his favorite waterhole, because, of course, during the dry season, all of the predators are capitalizing on the animal life that the waterholes attract, which is exactly what Steve's wild dogs did.
We've managed to catch up with them. I think they've decided not for waterbuck, but maybe for something a little bit harder to catch. You've got to earn your breakfast. This is going to be fun. If these dogs do decide to chase something, they all spread out now. They're all in a fan. So they're trying to maybe chase out a small antelope, like a steenbok or something, although I don't know how far, really. There we go. This one's seemingly spotted something on the right side. Or maybe not. They've all spread out, and one of the... Oh, there we go. Young waterbuck. They've decided this is a young waterbuck that they want to go for, everybody. Now, just bearing in mind that this could be quite difficult to watch. They were looking for something hidden in the long grass, and that waterbuck just bolted. I don't think it's got any chance, everybody. Sorry, Seb. We're about a kilometer now from the water. Whew, my tummy is in my mouth. That little waterbuck was just hidden there. That's what the mothers do. They leave them somewhere hidden away. They go off to drink, and then they come back again. Okay, they've got it. They've got it just here by the dam. This is going to be very difficult to watch, everybody. So they've just told me on the radio they've caught it right back where the first youngster was.
I can't imagine anything more terrifying than being chased by a wild dog or a pack of wild dogs through that thick woodland, not knowing where they're coming from, which one's going to smack me next. Anyway, just a dreadful experience for that young waterbuck. Now, we are sitting here, of course, with the Kichwatembo male and the Olololo pride, and these pictures, I must just tell you, being brought to you by Gendre, who is on camera today. Wonderful to have him with us. Hello, Gendre.
Hello, James.
There we go. And I'll also tell you that the rain has started to fall again here in the Masai Mara. It's supposed to be the dry season. As you can see, it's not very dry at all. And the dry season, in fact, was, at least the wet season was very dry. And now the dry season is, in fact, very wet. So the climate is on its head here. Corsi, they certainly hunted this lion together. I suspect that it was 3 females and 2 young males who took it down, possibly with the help of the big males, except the big males don't look like they've eaten a great deal to me. I think they've only come across this kill today. And so I suspect it was 3 females and 3 young males, at least 2 young males who took it down. And that wouldn't have been too difficult for them. It looks like an almost adult bull, I think, that they killed. Not massive yet. Probably a 3-year-old or so. In fact, no, it's not. It's a cow. You can see that from the horns. So a cow, buffalo, that they killed, and so I don't think that those 5 lions would have struggled with that at all. Now, I'm going to speak quite a lot about terror, I think, of the wilderness this evening. One of the things that is very terrifying indeed is going down to a crocodile-infested river to try and have a drink, as Taylor was watching the zebra do last year.
They lay waiting to ambush their prey. I don't think that zebra even knows that there's a crocodile there. And they're quick. the way that they can launch themselves out of the water, and they just need to grab hold onto one part of that zebra, whether it's a leg. Oh, there we go, strike. Oh, unlucky crocodile. Now, as much as we want these zebra to live, these crocodile have not eaten for many, many months. There haven't been many opportunities. Like I said, there's been plenty water elsewhere, and the animals haven't had to come down and drink. That was close. Now we need to wait and see if some other zebra are going to be tempted by the nice cooling water to come and quench their thirst, or have those crocodiles ruined it for themselves today by getting too excited and striking too early. Their best bet, of course, is to wait for those zebra to dive deep into the waters and try and cross the treacherous Mara River. It's deep, the rocks are slippery, zebra are good swimmers, but crocodiles live in the water for most of their lives. And of course, they've got those massive, very muscular tails that will help them propel through the water faster than any zebra could swim. What a very, very incredible experience. Like I said, my heart is absolutely racing.
From the chaos of the crossings to the chaos of trying to follow a leopard off-road at night, in the dark, in the Greater Kruger through Aardvark tunnels. I can't go this way. There's big, big holes there. I'm just letting the other vehicle know as well. And we're going to have to go around this way, I think. If we can. There he goes. I can just see him. Hold on, everyone. It gets a little bit bumpy out here as we move through the dark. Oh, there he is. I can see him up ahead of me, but he's got quite far ahead. And there are some big, big tunnels. This is what he was doing all afternoon. Only it was light. There's some more big tunnels. I think this is a very bad idea. I'm going to have to go around. I can't go straight, otherwise the ground's going to disappear underneath me while I get back towards our leopard. Let's send you across to Lauren, whose lines are hopefully giving her an easier time of things.
We're still following the Styx prides here. Typical lions got up and got mobile just at that perfect time of night. So you can just see them ahead there. They're all almost in single file walking off into the thicket. And of course, it is time for lions to be active. It's almost time to start their nocturnal activity of hunting. They're very, very alert right now. They were just still a moment ago listening and taking in the whole environment around them. It would not surprise me if these lions were heading to water and then potentially to make a kill for their food for the evening. So it's fantastic to follow this pride through the bush. And I do think we might have to start up the car soon enough in order to keep up with them. Highly mobile lions are definitely not easy to keep up with, but I want to see exactly what they are going to get up to tonight. They did make a kill last night, and they could easily make another one tonight. So we're going to go for a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Good evening, everybody. I've been non-existent in this show so far. Well, good evening and welcome back. As you can see, we're sitting with the Nkuhuma Pride, and we've managed to find them right now crossing in from our neighbors, and they're heading kind of in through the thickets, and hopefully they're going to be on the hunt. This is just 2 members of 10 that is sitting here. We did see more of them moving through the thickets, and so what I'm hoping is these guys will eventually catch up with the rest of them and we'll get a kind of grouping all together. Now I need to introduce myself because I haven't done that. My name is Tristan, and on camera I've got Marcel this evening, and it is very, very nice to be with the Nkuhuma Pride. I didn't think we were going to see them because I thought maybe, just maybe, they were going to be on the neighboring property, but they've come across. And the thing is, though, is I'm a bit nervous of where we are right now. We're driving around and we're right in the sort of area where this afternoon we got our first glimpse of tiny new little Nkuhuma cubs. So 2 little 6-week-old cubs, and we're not far from there, so I don't want to off-road too much close towards the den site, because obviously off-roading can attract things like hyenas, but the fact that the whole pride is here will mean that they will come to the aid of that female if there was something like that, but we don't really want to cause too much of a disturbance, so we're just being careful. Nicole? How big can a pride get? Well, some prides can get very large. It's always dependent on water, availability of food, and competition. I once saw a pride in the eastern sections of the Kruger National Park that was 40 lions, which is a lot of lions in one pride, and life was very difficult for them because trying to find food was incredibly hard. 40 lions eats a zebra in about 15 minutes from start to finish, which is a serious amount of food to be destroyed, and so they really battle to find the food. In this area, mostly what we'll see is the prides will be fairly small, on average between sort of 5 and 15 is the size of the prides in this section. Now, we're going to sit here with them. They're starting to call a little bit, and I think they're going to start moving back together, and we're going to see the whole pride join. So while we wait for that to happen, let's send you back across to where Steve was still following the wild dogs, and to see what kind of played out with that hunt.
So, bearing in mind, everybody, this is going to be very hard to watch. Feeding frenzy. Female waterbuck is coming over here on the side. She might know something. Now this can take moments. They can finish that entire animal in a matter of minutes. No excited chittering and chattering. So they chased that waterbuck probably about 1 kilometer. And they would have been nibbling it and biting it as they went, and it would have probably died very quickly of shock and blood loss. So those of you out there who think this is very cruel, it is what wild dogs do. It's a part of the food chain. None of that animal is going to go to waste. There's a hyena coming in behind us here. So this hyena is looking very sheepish, and these wild dogs will very quickly give it a hiding. Backing up against the car, 1 hyena against 10 wild dogs, you've got no chance. Called in the reinforcements. There comes another one. I wonder if they will come onto this side, and that will definitely be a different swing. There won't be much to be had. Most of this waterbuck will be gone. And that is the benefit of being in a group, being in a family.
Yes, hyenas. Now, that was, I think, an utterly terrifying scene, that with Steve and the wild dogs. Mostly because, of course, you could see the little waterbuck's face as it was being dragged around. Of course, it was dead by then. But it really did put into perspective, I think, the death of the animal and the terror it must have felt. It's all very well watching a buffalo like this being eaten, I find, because you can't see its face. It doesn't look like it was a live creature at one stage. It just looks like a piece of butchered meat. But I found for that waterbuck, it was very distressing and very difficult to watch. Of course, it was totally natural. Of course, there's no cruelty involved with those wild dogs. And in fact, they kill something that size very quickly indeed. And so it probably wouldn't have felt very much at all. But a nasty experience for the waterbuck, and just as nasty was the death of this buffalo. And they tend to die actually much more slowly than something being killed by wild dogs, because they're bigger and they fight. They keep fighting until the last moment. Emma, you're just 9 years old and you're wondering what a lion's favourite food is. Well, Emma, it really depends where the lion's from and what's around. They're not very fussy. They're not like human beings who have a favourite kind of a thing to eat. You might like hamburgers. Your friend might like to have milkshakes or pizza. Lions are not very fussy. In this particular area, when the migration is not here, so when there are no zebra and wildebeest around, then they specialise in buffalo. And the Nkuhuma pride that Tristan was talking about a little bit earlier also specialise in buffalo when they're around. But they're not fussy, like I say. They will happily eat topi, they will eat impala if they can get them, they will even sometimes go for things as big as hippo. But often they will eat buffalo. Now, we've watched the zebra approaching the water, we've watched them think about having a drink. Now we're going to go back in time with Taylor and watch them taking the plunge.
Welcome back to the Great Mara River for your weekly river update. And as you can see, the zebra have already started streaming in, but there are so many crocodiles surrounding them. Unbelievable. Now, like I said, there are lots and lots of cars around us from all over the world coming to witness this amazing spectacle, and so are we. And that's exactly, oh, here they come. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing from the banks of the Mara River. Oh no! Go zebra! Now there's trouble. That is a huge crocodile. Look at it go. Look how it uses its tail to power itself through the water. It misses. Try it again. Often you see zebra without any tails, and that's normally because the crocodiles have grabbed hold of them. Oh no, go, go. Oh my goodness, look at the teeth on the crocodile. This is going to be scary, especially if another young foal comes through. That crocodile's over 4 meters, probably even more than that, maybe 4.5 meters in length. And to grab hold of a young zebra foal would be no issue at all. And they clutch down on their prey and they do not let go. Here it goes, here it goes, swimming again. Trying to get in the middle of the zebras to have a better opportunity. Oh no, swim zebras, swim! They are powerful swimmers.
So there you are, the zebra taking the plunge and getting across. Lovely to see them getting one up on those monsters of the deep. Now, we moved because there's a lioness greeting, well, there was a lioness greeting a young male here. Of course, as you came back to us, they went to sleep. They are not very good performers on television, and I will have a strong word with them at the close of this show. Let us just push the clutch in and reverse back to our male lion, who I think, if I'm not mistaken, is right over here. There he is. That's better. He is deeply hungry, as you can see, so I don't think he was part of this kill. While he feeds, let's go back across to Tristan, who has found the joyful pride of Djuma.
We are still on the trail of the Nkuhuma pride. You can see all the members in front of me. I'm trying to use my spotlight as little as possible, but it's difficult because I've got to see what's going on. But I'm going to stop here so you can see. On this game path is the entire pride that is moving through the night now. So they're slowly kind of heading their way through, and I'm pretty sure that they are currently on the hunt at the moment. So there should be 10 members in total. I haven't been able to count yet because we've been trying to get through thickets to follow them, but amazing to watch lions on the move, and I'm sure, like I say, that they are looking for any semblance of food. Now, we're going to send you off on a shore. Oh, here comes another lion.
There's a young male that's behind me, but we're going to send you off on a short break, and while we do that, we'll catch up with the lions, so don't go anywhere, and see where they're going to head after this. Well, how exciting that we managed to find these guys. They have come exactly from where the den is, which is interesting. So I think they must have met up with that lioness. Whether she's in this group now and off hunting is anyone's guess. So for those of you that don't know, we found a den this afternoon for the ridge-nosed lioness with two cubs. Well, actually this morning we found it, but we saw the 2 cubs this afternoon. You can see the Mangaean male is smelling. I haven't seen the Nkuhuma male yet, but most of the pride seems to be around, and you can see he's actually phlegm grimacing a little bit, just checking what's going on. Pretty sure he's going to maybe even spray a little bit. They have been scent marking most of the pride as they've been walking, and so they'll be figuring out exactly what's going on. The problem is we're heading towards this sort of northern boundary, and so not sure how much longer they're going to be here, and this male is going to have held up a lot of time, which means that we'll probably miss a lot of them crossing, unfortunately, but we'll try and keep up with them, and let's see. I'm hoping that they're going to head more to the sort of, what would you call it, east, rather than to the north, but I think north is where we're heading at this stage. Try and keep up with them. It's so thick and dense in here. I've got to be careful. Now, there was buffalo this morning not far from here. I haven't seen any sign of them this afternoon, but that's not to say they're not still milling about somewhere here, that maybe these guys could be hunting them. So we'll just kind of figure it out as we go, but it's going to be difficult to follow where we're going now. It gets very, very dense very quickly, and so we'll try our very, very best, that's for sure. Nice to see the whole pride, though. We've had a wonderful afternoon of the entire pride, from the cubs to even some of these guys. Now, some of the sub-adults waiting for our male on the road. Now, we're going to be coming out of our ad break, so I'm going to quickly get in position, and then I'm going to keep quiet. As you can see, we are still following the Nkuhuma pride as they forge their way deeper into the night, and we are still coming to you live from both South Africa and Kenya. Now, this pride is marching straight in a direction of where we saw a herd of buffalo this morning. We haven't seen them this afternoon, but I'm pretty sure these guys are going to pick up the scent fairly quickly. And once they do, this is a pride that often takes a lot of effort into hunting buffalo, or puts a lot of effort into hunting buffalo, and so I wouldn't be surprised that we see them going after that herd if they pick up the scent. But what's happening now is it's basically typical lion movement, is the pride will move, then they'll lie down and wait for some of the members, everyone catches up, and then they go again, and you often get one that will just linger at the back like this individual, but soon as the pride disappears, you're going to find that this little lioness will get up and try and carry on and kind of catch up with the others as they go. Now, while we kind of wait for her to catch up with the rest and see where they're heading, Steve, well, he managed to catch up with the dogs, and it seems like there was another twist in the tail for those wild dogs and the waterbuck.
There's another one. There's a 5th hyena now. So everybody, there's a 6th hyena. Now, this could go in a very bad way for these wild dogs if there are 6 hyenas now coming through. This could really be quite interesting. Are you interested in the smells? You're a little bit tentative. Look at the tent. Oh, oh, there we go. Now watch. That was very brave.
Very brave.
That was very brave. Hyena in this situation, they don't work together as a team. They all just want to grab whatever they can get. One wild dog against hyena, no chance. But it's the family that makes the wild dog strong. It's fantastic. Well, everybody, how incredible are the scenes we're witnessing here this morning. First of all, the wild dogs looked to potentially take a young waterbuck from its mother, but the protective instincts of mum seemed to shield it from the prying eye of these 10 dogs who we believe are the sand pack. Now, very nice to see because the female seems to be pregnant, but they did manage to eventually walk away from the watering hole, and they managed to track down a camouflaged waterbuck hiding in the long grass. They pursued it at absolutely lightning pace all the way down to the watering hole here, where it wasn't able to escape by launching itself into the dam, and it was dispatched. Now, Juma clan came in to try and steal some of the meat for themselves, but without the cohesiveness that the dogs show, they were absolutely no match.
I suppose that sighting of Steve's then turned to slight comedy, really, with those hyenas wandering around with their backsides shoved into the ground. They must have taken quite a few bites, I think, and I think the wild dogs showed enormous courage in the face of those sort of numbers of hyena. Excuse me, a small frog jumped into my throat. This, I think, was probably the sight of this lion eating the tail of the buffalo, which was somehow gone unnoticed by the rest of the pride. And you can see he's really enjoying it. A sort of, I guess, Sunday pudding, if you like, after the buffalo kill. Now, in the water, of course, there really is no dispute as to who the top predator is. You don't have much competition between other predators. There's only the crocodile, and sometimes the crocodiles really do get very successful.
Kick. Sometimes that's what the zebra will do too. They'll end up kicking the crocodiles. Oh no! Jump! Oh no! I think he's got one. Oh no! He's been caught. The crocodile has grabbed that zebra by the head. Oh no! Now this is of course very, very devastating, and if you are sensitive viewers, might be a good time to turn away. But this is nature, this is raw, this is wild. Mother Nature doesn't care about anything. And as sad as what it is important that these crocodiles feast. This is the time of the year when the animals are plenty and they have an opportunity to eat. Now what's going to happen is that crocodile is going to try and drown that zebra. That's the only way it's going to be able to kill it. Sometimes what does happen is you'll get more than one crocodile joining in. And then as gruesome as what it sounds, they do end up tearing it apart. As you can see, listen to the distress calls of the other zebra. This is absolutely devastating. But one life lost. Well, we've had 2 this morning, 2 casualties. I don't think that that's very bad going, considering how many crocodiles infest the Mara River. Oh, this is so sad. Now that zebra is going to struggle for quite some time. But that is a big crocodile. You're starting to see a bit of blood now too. I don't see any more movement from that zebra. His ears twitching. But I think it's safe to say that the crocodile has won this battle. And that zebra would provide these crocodiles with a very valuable meal that will keep them going for many, many months after this.
So another fairly distressing scene there, watching that zebra unfortunately being drowned. But the crocodiles have to eat. It is nature, of course. And, well, much is the same with this buffalo. It sacrificed itself, I suppose, to the cause. Now, Nyanyadzi, you're wondering why the rest of the pride is not eating. It's just because they're full. Nyanyadzi, there's about 600 kilograms of meat on this buffalo, well, it's a buffalo cow, so let's call it 400 or so. and they're just full. They're all lying about in the grass feeling full, and so that's why they're not feeding here. It's totally normal, and I think these males, like I said, were away from the area and not feeding on the buffalo, and they've smelt it and come in now, and that's why they were still feeding. So that's just why the rest of the pride isn't eating. But they're around. Not the whole pride. Remember, of course, I said 4 females, 4 young females, 9 saddleback males, and these 2 big males. We haven't seen them all here at all. So I think, a big group like that will often split up and then come together, and split up and come together, depending on the various pressures that they face. All right, everybody, I'm very excited to be back in the Masai Mara, I must say, and I hope that next week we're going to be able to show you more of the wonders of the spectacular place. With any luck, over the next 2 weeks, we will have some big herds of zebra and wildebeest to get you in amongst, which will be very special. Thank you for your questions and comments. Have a good week next week, and we'll see you the same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.